Have you ever thought about this? How is it possible that the richest man in all human history, someone whose wealth can't even be calculated today, was erased from your school textbooks? Have you ever asked yourself why, when people talk about Africa, the only image that appears in your mind is hunger, suffering, and poverty? What if I told you there was a time when the kings of Europe reached toward the coasts of West Africa, not to conquer, but to borrow money, and to witness the glory of science, architecture, and civilization? Would you believe me? Or maybe it would hit even harder if I told you this. They had to paint us as savages, just so they could calm their own conscience while chaining our geniuses. My name is James. I'm 87 years old, and in my veins flows the blood of people who were kings, astronomers, and master builders, long before they were turned into slaves. I'm here to take you on a 100-episode journey to reveal the hidden truth of Black history, from golden palaces to the black holes of slave ships. My friend, this is not just a video series. This is a national project, a global awakening, a mission to bring back our stolen memory. So if you believe in truth, right now, subscribe, like, and share this video. Because your subscription is not just support, it's protection. It's keeping alive a history they tried to bury. And we are only standing on the first step. So stay with me. I want to take you somewhere else. Somewhere everything began. A place where the sunlight wasn't meant to burn. It was meant to shine on rooftops made of gold. Come with me, back to the 14th century to the beating heart of West Africa. Close your eyes and breathe with me. Do you smell it?
Timbuktu welcomes the world.
The salt trade brings prosperity to all.
That gentle dampness of the Niger River, that smell of wet clay, fresh earth, used by architects to build structures that have stood strong against wind and rain for centuries. This is the Mali Empire. This is where, when the wind blows through the markets of Timbuktu, it carries the sharp scent of cinnamon, ginger, and saffron, mixed with the sound of thousands of camels arriving from the Great Desert. Do you hear it? The sound of the kora, that traditional African harp, playing in perfect rhythm with the hammering of goldsmiths in the markets of Niani. In this land, gold was as common as desert sand. But what made Mali the cradle of civilization was not gold. It was knowledge. And at the top of this glory sat a man named Mansa Musa, the 10th king of the Mali Empire, a man with endless dignity, a man who walked as if the earth itself felt proud beneath his feet. Mansa Musa was not just a ruler. He was in love with words, in love with books. He understood something powerful. Empires can be built with swords, but they only become eternal with the pen. Now imagine yourself walking through the streets of Timbuktu. Touch the clay walls of the Jingarubber Mosque. Feel the rough texture of those bricks, each one placed by the hands of the finest builders of that era. Under your feet, you feel soft sand carried in from the Sahara, sand that has watched scholars travel here from Cairo, Baghdad, and Granada. This place, it smells like papyrus paper and saffron ink more than it smells like fresh bread. In every home, there is a library. Children are not playing with stones. They are holding astrolabes, watching the stars move across the clean African sky. Mansa Musa brought such security to this land that a woman could travel alone from one end of the empire to the other, wearing a crown of gold, and no one would even dare to look at her wrong. He built a civilization where justice wasn't a dream. Justice was as certain as sunrise. But Mansa Musa carried a secret desire in his heart. He wanted to show the world this greatness. He wanted every civilization trapped in war and poverty to see that Africa was not a land of darkness. Africa was the cradle of power and generosity. He was preparing for the greatest journey in human history, a journey that would shift the price of gold across the entire world. But what Musa did not understand was that this endless shine would awaken greedy eyes. Eyes that, centuries later, would stain these beautiful maps with the blood of his descendants. Musa was marching east with pride, while a storm was forming in the west. A storm that smelled like cold iron and gunpowder. Now imagine a desert whose silence had remained untouched for thousands of years, suddenly waking up to the thunder of 60,000 footsteps. In the year 1324, Mansa Musa began a journey that no king, no conqueror has ever been able to truly repeat. This was not just a religious trip to visit the Kaaba. This was a migration that changed the geography and economy of the world forever. Close your eyes. Feel the burning heat of the desert on your skin. But this time, the heat is not only from the sun. It is from the endless glow of gold. Moving like a river of molten fire across the sand, Mansa Musa marched at the front of this caravan with 500 servants, and each one held a staff made of pure gold. Golden staffs that shined so brightly under the desert sun, they could blind the eyes of anyone watching. Every movement of their hands threw sparks of wealth into the horizon. And do you hear that sound? That jingling sound, the sound of golden reins tied around the necks of 80 strong camels. Each camel carried over 130 kilograms of pure gold dust. Slowly, calmly, with dignity. The smell of sweat from thousands of camels mixed with the expensive scent of Arabic incense and musk rising from the king's royal platform. And Musa, sitting in the center of it all, on a throne made of ivory and ebony, wearing purple silk decorated with golden stitching. When this massive caravan reached Cairo, the world finally understood what black wealth truly looked like. Musa was not a man who hoarded gold. He had a heart as wide as his continent. He gave away so much gold to the poor of Cairo and Medina that the price of gold collapsed across the Middle East. Imagine that. So much gold entered the markets that gold coins lost their value. Inflation rose so high that the region's economy did not recover for 12 years. Venetian and Genoese merchants in Cairo watched this man with shock and fear. Until that day, they believed European kings were rich. But standing in front of Musa, they looked like beggars. But dear viewers, Musa's power was not in his coins. His true power was what he brought back home. Instead of collecting slaves, instead of collecting luxury goods, he searched for mines. He used gold to attract the greatest architects of Andalusia and the philosophers of Granada. He convinced them to come to Mali. He made a pact with Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, a brilliant architect from Spain, to turn Timbuktu into a jewel in the heart of the desert. Now come back to Timbuktu with Musa. Smell the wet earth of new buildings rising into the sky. Look at the Jingareber Mosque again, those giant clay pillars built like a fortress for the human soul. And Musa built the University of Sankore, a place where over 25,000 students had their own rooms. While in the great cities of Europe, people were still drowning in superstition. While even the nobles could not read, in Timbuktu, our scholars were studying brain surgery and advanced mathematics. Do you hear it? The sound of thousands of manuscript pages turning. In Timbuktu, the book trade was more profitable than the gold trade. If a stranger entered the city carrying a bar of gold, nobody cared. But if he arrived with a rare handwritten book, the king would roll out a red carpet. The sharp smell of black ink, made from lamp soot and tree resin, filled the university hallways. We own knowledge. We own civilization. A civilization where the status of a teacher was higher than the status of a war general. Musa proved to the world that Africa was a source of light. But that light cast long shadows. On the maps Europeans drew at that time, they painted Musa sitting on a throne, holding a large golden globe in his hand. That golden globe, to them, was not a symbol of our power. It became a symbol of their greed. They stared at that map, and inside their hearts, they drew the blueprint of our destruction. They understood something dangerous. To steal the gold, they first had to destroy the mines. Musa died at the peak of his glory, surrounded by the prayers of scholars and the peace of his empire. But his legacy was in danger. Dark clouds were gathering from the north and from the sea. The salty smell of the ocean began mixing with the strange scent of gunpowder. Our civilization had reached the mountaintop, and from the mountaintop, there is only one direction left. Down into the dark valleys of suffering. Dear viewers, when the sun of the Mali Empire slowly sank behind the hills of history, don't think the light left our land. No, the flame of knowledge and power was passed from hand to hand until it reached the greatest of our men. After Mali, it was the turn of the mighty Songhai Empire, a place where order and law were not just written on paper, they flowed through the veins of the people. If Mali was the empire of gold, Songhai was the empire of iron discipline. Under the leadership of a great king named Askia Muhammad, our civilization grew so powerful that the entire world trembled. Close your eyes. Walk with me into the streets of Gao, the proud capital of Songhai. Smell the warm millet bread baking in clay ovens, mixed with the cool air of the Niger River. There is no chaos here. Do you hear those footsteps? The steady marching of the royal guards. Soldiers wearing shining leather armor, holding spears whose tips reflect the sunlight. Askia Muhammad understood something. A great civilization does not need soldiers as much as it needs justice. He built one of the first modern administrative systems in history. There was a minister for everything. A minister of finance, a minister of agriculture, even a minister of fishing and forests. In the markets of Songhai, you could touch justice. Feel the rough fabric of hand-woven Kent cloth under your fingers, dyed with plant colors, purple and yellow. Government inspectors walk through the markets every day, checking the scales. No Arab or European merchant dared to cheat even a single gram because Askia's law struck like lightning. Security was so strong that historians wrote a traveler could walk for months with a bag full of jewels, and no one would dare to touch him. This was our true greatness, my friends. We were not savages. We were architects of safety. But the beating heart of this empire was still Timbuktu. Come back with me again to the cool courtyards of Sankore University. The strong scent of saffron and musk used to decorate manuscripts filled the rooms. Do you hear that soft scratching sound? That is the sound of thousands of books turning. In the 15th century, our scholars were performing cataract eye surgery. Imagine that. While in Europe people died from a simple wound, while they burned witches alive, Black surgeons in Timbuktu were restoring light to human eyes. We had astronomers who predicted the movements of moons and philosophers who wrote about human rights and human dignity. We own the word. But dear viewers, what breaks my heart is that this brilliance blinded our enemies. The Moroccan Empire in the north, suffering from poverty and internal war, looked at our golden paradise with jealousy. They wanted our wealth, but the path to the heart of Songhai was not easy. Then in the year 1591, something happened, something that shook the pillars of our world. The Battle of Tondabai. The Moroccans arrived with a new weapon, a weapon that smelled like death: gunpowder rifles. The roar of explosions shattered the sacred silence of our civilization. The smell of sulfur and smoke from foreign guns choked the air that once smelled of books and peace. Our brave spears had no chance against lead bullets. Our civilization, built on reason and order, collapsed under the savage brutality of gunpowder. When the enemy entered Timbuktu, they did not go for the gold first. They went for the books, because they knew something. To destroy a nation, you must destroy its memory. They chained our great scholar, Ahmad Baba. Imagine that old man, dignified, hands that had only held pens for a lifetime, now tied in heavy iron chains. And as they dragged him away, he cried, not for his own life, but for his 1,600 books, books Moroccan soldiers burned or threw into the river. He said, "I was the poorest among my brothers because I only had 1,600 books." That is where our poverty began, not from losing money, but from losing our books. When the libraries burned, it was as if the light disappeared from Africa's eyes. Chaos replaced law, and that was the exact moment the sea vultures were waiting for. European ships were already anchored along our coasts. They saw the lion of Africa wounded. They did not come to talk about stars. They came to tear flesh from a broken body. They understood that a man without history, a man who forgot his grandfather was an astronomer, is much easier to chain. The storm was reaching the shore. The salty ocean air now mixed with the smell of blood, the blood of brothers betraying brothers. My child, now we have reached the darkest place of this story, the place where the glory of gold was replaced by the blackness of iron. When the Songhai Empire collapsed, it was like a giant mirror that reflected sunlight across the continent, shattering into 1,000 pieces. And each piece fell into the hands of a local ruler, into the hands of a brother, who now, out of fear or out of greed, turned against his own people. Close your eyes. Come with me into those cursed nights near the forests of the West. Do you smell the ocean? But this is not the same ocean smell. This is the smell of wet gunpowder and rotten ships sitting on the horizon like man-eating whales. When Europeans saw we were weakened, they came with mirrors, alcohol, and guns. They taught our tribes something poisonous. They taught them they could sell their neighbor, the man who sat at the same table yesterday, in exchange for cheap metal or a sip of deadly alcohol. Do you hear it? That trembling sound, the sound of chains, the sound of metal dragging across the ground. This was the first time the warm skin of our ancestors touched the killing cold of iron. Hot iron brands burned into their arms and chests, marking them with the logos of trading companies. Imagine the smell of burned flesh mixed with the mud of the shores of Ghana. Those hands that once held astrolabes, that once recorded the movements of stars, were now locked in rough iron cuffs. Their greatest crime was not stealing our gold. Their greatest crime was stealing our identity. They intentionally turned our libraries into ashes. They turned our astronomers and architects into labor. They had to prove to the world that Africa was a dark continent, a land without culture, so they could calm their conscience and say, we are saving these savages. They erased our history, so we would forget we were the grandchildren of Mali's kings. Today, when you look at a young black man in the streets of America, head down, believing his entire history begins with slavery, understand this: their plan succeeded. They wanted us to believe we were nothing, so when they chained us, we would think it was destiny. But I am here to tell you something. Every time a young black man shows genius in mathematics, every time a black woman shakes the world with her voice, that is the memory of Timbuktu screaming through their veins. Today we saw that our roots were planted in light and in knowledge. But my friends, those roots are about to be watered with an ocean of blood. Today we witnessed greatness. But tomorrow we enter the underground chambers, the place where there is no oxygen, where the smell of death and infection fills the air. In the next episode, I will tell you how that peaceful night in the village ended with the sound of a horrifying raid. I will tell you about the corridor of no return, the moment when the bare feet of our ancestors touched African soil for the last time, before being dragged toward an ocean that offered no return. Go and think about this glory, because a thick darkness is coming. Get ready, because the next episode is the beginning of our fall into the hell of the ocean. The name of that episode is A Scream in the Village, the First Raids, and the Betrayals Within.